happy Friday. We welcome you to the EBS Summit. And today's presentation will be by Sushil Maswani, who is a cloud architect with SmartDog Services. We're talking about 6 ways you can move your EBS system to the cloud. Sushil, take it away.
Thank you, Scott, for the introduction. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Looking forward to this presentation. This presentation is for all customers who are currently on EBS, or even customers who are not on EBS but using Oracle databases. It will help everyone to know what are the different ways that Oracle has come up with for helping customers to move to the cloud. A lot of this presentation is non-technical and will provide you information of different ways in which you can make a decision if you are thinking of the cloud. And as I go through the presentation, I'll provide you different options available. And if you have any questions, feel free to put the questions on the questions bar. And at the end of the presentation, I will go through the presentation, the questions, and see if there's anything that I can help you with at that point of time. At the end of the presentation, once it's all done, this is being recorded. So the recording will be put on the website of where you registered, as well as the the PDF for the presentation will be put on there. So this presentation is part of the webinar series that we are doing. This started by Cliff Godwin, and Cliff Godwin gave the first presentation on what was the EBS roadmap, and then we had a few other presentations on licensing and hidden benefits of the cloud for EBS. We are going to continue with this one, and then we have many more presentations coming up in the next 3 to 4 months, every couple of weeks. The one that is coming up next is going to be something which is going to be technical. It's going to be a workshop. It's not going to be something that's going to be automatically registered as you have done for this one. You would have to separately register for that, because that requires you to have a cloud account. A trial account would have to be created, and you would need to go into our website to register for that. So today I'm going to talk about some of the corporate priorities that most companies today are being faced with, and how we can use Oracle to benefit. And at the end of the presentation, I'll again go back to the top priorities and expectations to show you that through the whole process we have been able to Oracle will be able to help you to fix some of those priorities and expectations. That's about me. I do not like to speak much about me, but we'll go on. So from the priorities and expectations. So most IT organizations have 2 priorities. One is the business has their own set of priorities, and the IT has their own set of priorities. The business wants innovation, they want agility, they want to reduce the cost, and also the risk. And for the IT, like the DBAs, the network administrators, the storage, they want things that can happen automatically, whether it is self-service. If I need to clone an environment, I want to do it much faster than I'm doing today. They want reliable networking. They want, the service has to be very, how do you put it? Measurable. They should know what they are able, how much time it's going to take to back up a particular database, etc. So, the priorities are not necessarily aligned, because if you want lower cost, you sometimes have to spend more money. You have to spend more for your IT. So how do you get those things aligned? If you use some of the things that Oracle has today, you would be able to get both of those things achieved through the Oracle Cloud. And that's what this presentation is all about. So just before the open world, Oracle came up with this slide where they talked about the 6 journeys to the cloud. And I'm going to focus most of this presentation on the first 4, and I will summarize the last 2 towards the end of the presentation. I will focus most of my time on 3 and 4 during this presentation, but I definitely want all of you to understand what options number 1 and 2 also are, and to help you make your decision for your roadmap to the cloud. So let's go on to the first one. Is today, if you are having your own on-premise data center and you want to, make it more optimal, it is, most of the customers today, they have a hardware infrastructure like this. They have VMware, they have Red Hat, they have Dell, SAP, Cisco, EMC, they have all different kinds of hardware, all working with each other and creating a pretty complex on-premise environment. What happens with that situation is that, when you want to do some upgrades, or you want to do certain things that are, affect your infrastructure, it sometimes becomes much more complicated because there may be dependencies where a particular version of VMware may not be compatible with something, with the Red Hat Linux that you're using, etc. And it becomes very complicated to manage this environment. So what do is we can make things a little easier with the Oracle Cloud. Oracle has most of those things automatically available today as Exadata, Compute Cloud, Big Data Cloud Service, Database Backup Service, and Spark Cloud Service. So if you have the Oracle machines, they run on Oracle Linux or on Solaris. And if you have those machines already running today, then it doesn't matter at what point of time you decide to go to the cloud. So if you are still nervous about going to the cloud, but you have a pretty good understanding that in the next 3 to 5 years, there is a good possibility that you will be moving to the cloud and you're doing a hardware replacement today, it would be a good idea to think about, migrating your hardware to some of the Oracle provided hardware that is there, whether it is ODA or Exadata, for example, because those are running on Oracle Linux, and also the Oracle Cloud has the same operating system. So tomorrow, if you decide to move to the cloud, you can choose to do that without any more migration efforts because you're going to be on the same operating system. And that makes it very easy for you to make your decision to go to the cloud. If you are spending money and you are going to be spending money on your hardware infrastructure, think about the hardware that Oracle provides, because Oracle runs fastest on Oracle, and customers who are using it, I've had personal experience that Oracle is definitely much more efficient, and if you have used Exadata before, you know how beneficial it is to use that. There's also benefits on licensing when it comes to using some of the hardware on the cloud. When you are doing on-premise, if you use machines, if you have an IBM or an HP, you need to plan for growth of your hard infrastructure much more in advance, 4 to 5 years, anticipating your growth. So for example, if you need 72 cores and you'll need that much over the next 4 years, you have to buy a box with 72 cores. And then you pay for those hardware all through the 4 years, which includes the cost of licensing and then the 22% support cost that you have to pay on top of that. And that adds up every single year. If you use Oracle hardware, then you only pay for the number of cores that you're using at that point of time. So if you need to increase it, at some point of time, you can increase it. And so your licensing and support costs only increase as needed. Now, if you come to the end of 4 years, then you actually needed only 24 cores. You actually bought 72 cores. So from a planning perspective, it becomes much easier for you if you start off on a lower side and then decide to increase. You cannot do that with other hardware solutions available. So that's one of the things. Even with VMware, for example, right? You can say, I'll virtualize it. Yes, you can virtualize it, but you still pay for all the cores that are there on that server on which your VMware is being installed. So it becomes, it is an additional cost. And that cost is sometimes, a cost that you have to plan for well in advance. That gets reduced if you are thinking about Oracle hardware. Now, the second option is, you're not ready to go to the cloud. Many customers that I've spoken to some customers today who are worried about where their data is. I'll give an example of a customer that wanted their data to be only in the state of New York. It could not go anywhere else. Now, Oracle Cloud, or any other cloud for that matter, does not have a data center in New York, but they still wanted to use the benefits that are available on the cloud. So you can have what is known as Cloud as Customer, where Oracle will install its hardware that is there on their cloud at your data center. So you will use your networking, you will use your rack space that you have internally on your data center, but Oracle will manage it for you as an infrastructure as a service, and it's like leasing a server, but the server will be completely managed by Oracle. So that will give you some of the sovereignty that you want. You want the data to be over there. You want to have control over the, your data center, and you want to reduce the latency. You don't have to worry about the latency from your data center or your on-premise offices to the Oracle's data center, this gives you that benefit. And I have seen customers, especially the government customers, state government customers, are very, very much open to using Oracle Cloud at customer. So it's very easy. All that it does is you use your data center. You have the Oracle public cloud. You just have it on your own data center. That's all about it. So these are the various options that we have. You have a public cloud machine. You have Exadata also that can come as a cloud machine. So you don't need to buy Exadata. You can actually install Exadata on your premise and lease it like a monthly subscription, and your Exadata will be on your premise. At the same thing, you can also do if you want to have a big data. If you want to run big data loads, Oracle can have a big data machine installed on your own data center, and you can get the same benefits. So there are, one of the things that you get with that is you get subscription based, just like you do on the cloud. It is within your own firewall. It's running the same software as the public cloud, and it's still managed by Oracle. You don't get those benefits when you're on, you have to buy the hardware, for example. You have to, so those are some of the things that you get benefits of. And again, if you use a hosting provider, it's not within your own firewall. So you get a lot of benefits. Now, I'm going to be spending most of my presentation on option number 3 and 4. Option number 3 is moving your workloads to the cloud. So, for example, you want to run your data warehousing environment. You have to, right now, you have multiple servers, you want to do some more data warehousing, you want to add some big data. Your data is keeping on increasing. You need to keep planning for this. There are about 10% of the customers today who are already doing some of that in the cloud, whether it is on Amazon Cloud, whether it is Google Cloud or Azure, and even Oracle Cloud in the last year or so. If you have, Oracle database or Oracle eBusiness Suite, I would say that 50% of the customers today, at some point of time in the next 2 to 3 years, will be moving their enterprise workloads on the cloud. And if you are on Oracle, Oracle Cloud is the best place to be, because you get some of those benefits that are there with governance, security, performance, the deployment options that you have, and one of the things to remember that they are optimized for Oracle workloads. So the disk drives that it provides you, Oracle database will run fastest on that. The network that it provides you, they have the best networking that they have on their Cloud 2.0, which is called as the OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, has the software-based networking. So it's giving you the VCN, your own network within your own, like your own virtual cloud network for your environment. And at the same time, you get multiple options that you can use. So look over here. If you have Oracle eBusiness Suite today, you can have it in 3 different places, right? You can have it on-premise as you have today. You can use Exadata ODA, or you can have it on Cloud at Customer, so Oracle's machine. And the third one is you install the whole thing on the Oracle public cloud. So there are various options that you get, and one of the best things that all the machines that are there, they are optimized for Oracle's workloads, and that is the most important. And also the software that's running on those machines is the same software that's running on the cloud. So what happens in that is, when you are trying to do your workloads, you today have your storage, your servers, VMs, operating system, everything running on-premise. Now, if Oracle provides you the compute and storage, all you can do is now move the rest of the things to the cloud as you want, and you actually get the benefit of moving your Oracle workloads on the cloud. When I speak about option number 4, I'll speak about some of the platform and infrastructure related stuff that comes with this. But one of the most important thing is you can technically run your Oracle workloads that are there on the cloud for your big data environments or disaster recovery, for example. These are some of the ways in which you can benefit from that. One of the things I would like to bring out is the licensing cost that you would save even on that point of view. For example, today, if you have a disaster recovery solution that's running at a different data center, you have to pay for the licensing for the disaster recovery environment. So if you have a 24 license machine today on your primary data center, what happens is when you are running your data your data guard or any of your disaster recovery environments off-site, you have to have a similar environment to your production, which means 24 license, 48 CPUs on your DR environment. So you have to pay for licensing for that. If you use the Oracle Cloud, you can technically have your DR environment on a 2 CPU or a 4 CPU disaster recovery environment and only pay for licensing for the amount that you're doing is your monthly subscription anyway. You pay only for those the two processor license, which is on 4.0 CPU. And if you actually end up with a disaster at that point of time, you can scale up your disaster recovery and make it a 24 processor license for the period of time that your disaster happens. So disasters, disaster recovery is for disasters. That's not very often. If you have it in a different data center, you are paying all those years for licensing and support for that environment that you may never have a disaster. So, there are a lot of cost savings just from that perspective itself. So now we'll go with the option that's my favorite option. If you are running EBS today on the cloud, or even any of your databases that you're running in your data center today, and you want to use the cloud, I think this option is a great option for many customers. And let's go to some of the things that you can do. Infrastructure as a service, you can have your dev and test running on the cloud. I already spoke about production high availability. You can have your highly available data guard running on the cloud with your production system running on-premise. So you can still have, if at all you do have a disaster, move your, through data guard, you can just move over to the cloud and do that. And of course, big data. So we spoke some of those things. If you're an e-business, you can do any of that stuff. So the use cases are, of course, development test environments you can do on the cloud. Today, if you have a dev and test environment, for example, how do you, when you are doing a new project, you probably need 3, 4, 5 environments extra created. If you're doing an R12 upgrade, typically 6, 7 environments are sometimes created. To get the hardware provision for that, working for the companies that I worked for before, when I was not part of a system integrator like SmartDog, is we had to acquire hardware. We had to make sure we provision that hardware, plan for the hardware. Okay, today we will need in the next 3 months 5 environments. So we need to plan for storage, we plan for networking, we plan for new hardware. If you have the cloud, you don't need to do that. You can clone your environments on the cloud as needed, and then when you don't need that environment, you blow it away. That's easy. Same thing now even for DR, I already explained to you on that. And of course, you can also run production. The new Cloud 2.0, what is called the OCI, has the capability to run your production level loads also on the cloud. So this is a progressive approach. Today, your on-premise e-business suite application, you have everything on your on-premise. You could start with your DR in the cloud. So that's one way of doing it. You could also do backup to the cloud. I'll be speaking to some of those things, as we go ahead with the slides. Your dev and test in the cloud, that's your stage 2. And finally, if you want and you like the performance, you can decide you can also move your production to the cloud. So this is a progressive approach of your e-business suite environment going to the cloud. And you could do it on your own schedule the way you're doing it. This is very, very useful, especially when you are planning either your hardware upgrades or you're doing an R12 upgrade for which you do not want to buy extra infrastructure. This is the best way for you to do it. So here you go. Do your dev test. You have these multiple environments. You have a production environment. You cloned it to dev on the cloud. Then you can create your test. You can create your integration testing. You can still do your performance test, your UAT, and production on-premise. By doing this, you're getting that since your production is running on-premise, you want to make sure that you do your performance testing and user acceptance testing. On-premise, you could do that because you want to get the same performance of whatever you're trying to do, and you want to make sure you don't have the network latency. So this is one way of incorporating your Oracle Cloud into your software development lifecycle. So it makes it much easier. As I said, you create your conference room palettes, put them on the cloud, and then effectively decide how you want to move your environments around without having to buy extra infrastructure. Now, in the future, you decide this is great. You could just have everything on the cloud as needed. So use cases, new implementations, global rollouts, upgrades. You're trying to evaluate a new version. What do you do today? Whether it's vision or whatever it is, it's so much easier if you did an upgrade. You want to do a 12.2 upgrade. You're on 12.1.3 today. You create a new environment on the cloud, clone your production to that, and play around with your environment over there. Upgrade it to 12.2. Make your business process changes, whatever. So instead of having a vision demo, you can actually, without having to acquire additional hardware, at a fraction of a cost, you should be able to do some of your business process evaluation directly on the cloud. And then obviously when you're ready, you move your production environment to the cloud as needed. Now, one of the things that Oracle has come up with is platform as a service, which is the database cloud services that, now this is available not just for EBS customers, but this is also available for just standalone database customers. They have come up with 4 options where you have licensing that's already built in as part of your monthly subscription, and it is called the database cloud service. So when you install a database on the cloud today, if you use the database cloud service, it not only installs the database for you, it also provisions the hardware for you automatically. Now, for example over here, is say you decided to use high performance. You would automatically get everything that's on enterprise, that is flashback, data guard, recovery, parallel backup and recovery, VPD, and also multi-tenant partitioning, advanced compression, all provided to you as part of your monthly subscription fee. Now, what happens with that is, today, if you are on-premise, each one of these licenses are extremely expensive. Just to give you an example, say you have a 4-processor license today running enterprise edition of your database on your IBM AIX or HP or Dell or whatever you're using. Now, if you decide that you want to use partitioning, you have to buy a 4-processor licensing for partitioning. Then I want real application testing. That's an additional licensing. Each one of these licensing can cost you anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000 for a 4-processor license, and on top of that, you pay 22% support fees, which adds up every single year. So you are paying sometimes, with all those licensing options, over $1 million a year just on licensing. When you use the Oracle Cloud Service and you have the database running on the Oracle Cloud, you get, just for example, TDE. TDE is by default on the cloud. TDE is a licensable option if you're using it on-premise. Even if you go to Amazon Cloud for that matter, you need to bring your own licensing on that side. And what happens on that side, you have to pay for licensing. Transparent database encryption does not come by default if you go to the other clouds. So using the Oracle Cloud, you get some of those benefits. Now, Oracle has changed some of these licensing to make it even more easier. And that's what I'm going to show in the next slide. Is this was the original slide. And then, I went ahead and created a new slide, which gives you a little bit more database cloud options, where today Enterprise Edition is automatically coming with the data masking, subsetting, diagnostic and tuning pack, and real application testing directly on the Enterprise Edition itself. You do not even need to buy additional licensing if you use the Enterprise Edition. You can do real application testing. That is an extremely expensive license today for on-premise. The AWR reports. A lot of us are using AWR reports to do performance tuning. When Oracle audits your environment, you get fined. I've worked with customers that have been fined, $1 million for using AWR reports because they do not contain the diagnostic and tuning. They do not have the license for that, but DBAs use it for performance tuning, thinking that that's the way to do it. You cannot use AWR reports unless you have the tuning and diagnostic pack. It comes by default in the Enterprise Edition on the cloud. Now, your question you're asking is, what happens if I already have licensing and I want to move to the cloud? In September of last year, Oracle came up with Bring Your Own License. With Bring Your Own License, Oracle is automatically allowing you, it gives you a credit for the licensing. So when you bring it over, now you pay only for the compute and the storage and the automation, and the licensing part is given to your credit. So instead of paying, if it's a brand new customer that's not bringing the license, you're paying probably 50 to 60% of the monthly fee because the licensing has been automatically taken care of. But you also get certain things license free even if you did not have the license. For example, data masking, diagnostics, tuning pack, and real application testing are automatically included even if you bring your own license. So even if you did not have diagnostic and tuning pack and you did not have real application testing, if you bring your own license, so for example, if you had partitioning or you had VPD license, for example, when you bring it over, those you would be allowed to use on the cloud, but at the same time, you will get the data masking, diagnostics and tuning, and real application testing automatically provided to you because you're running Oracle on the Oracle Cloud. So there are a lot of benefits and one of using Oracle on the as a database cloud service. And EBS is available in database cloud service today and can be used. And it's getting even better. They're coming up with, I was at the Collaborate conference, that they're coming up with some new products within DBCS where we would be even able to clone our database that is running on DBCS using snapshot cloning that is available. When you do snapshot cloning, you can technically do a clone within a couple of hours rather than days that you have to do sometimes copying files today. So that facility is also coming up on the cloud. In the next 3 to 6 months, we would be able to clone environments, EBS environments on the cloud within a few hours. So what are the benefits of database as a service? First of all, it's 11G or 12C. So you're going to get, whatever is today in support, all that's available as DBCS. You're getting these 4 options that we spoke about: standard edition, enterprise edition, high performance, and extreme performance. As you saw on the previous slide, and I can go back to the previous slide to show you, that this is what you get in the enterprise edition, this is what you get in high performance, and this is what you got in extreme performance. If you're going to get a copy of these slides, so you will know what you need to purchase. If you want to use RAC, again, this is only available on the Oracle Cloud. You cannot use RAC in Amazon, or it's been something that's always been debated upon, but RAC is not something that works well on Amazon Cloud. So you get it if you use extreme performance on the Oracle Cloud. And it's exactly the same as the database that you're running today, and it gives you the same benefits that you have as you have on-premise. So just look at the things. Now, this is a slide which I can show you. Is today, if you want to create a database on the cloud, on your on-premise, right? You have to go to your network engineer, say, I need a new server. I need something to be created. Okay, so he'll provide the storage. He'll create all the networking. He does all that stuff. Then he gives you the machine. You start installing using your run installer. There are probably about 50 steps that we need to go through. Sometimes it'll take a couple of weeks for your actual database that you wanted to create if you actually use the Oracle Cloud. And I think that's available even on the other clouds, but the benefits that you get is you get these licensing automatically provided to you, which you do not get. You have to bring your own licenses when you go to Amazon. So there are really benefits that you get certain things. I want to try real application testing. This is an excellent option. It's available only in Enterprise Edition. If you want to do real application testing, that means I can test an upgrade and see the impact of it on performance because you have real application testing included in the license. That is that itself is worth $1 million, and you're paying a relatively much smaller amount. Even if you calculate the cost over 5 years, you're not going to be paying $1 million over 5 years for an Oracle 8 OCPU license, on Enterprise Edition. So the benefits are just extremely, high when it comes to having Oracle database on the cloud. Now, one of the other things that you have is backup as a service. Today, we use Oracle databases. That's fine. We back up to the tape. We send those tapes offsite. What happens if you want to recover your database, even your test database, and you want to recover it from 2 weeks ago's backup? What do? Either you have to keep those backups for 2 weeks on your disk space on your disk on premise, or your retention policy is 1 week, and a developer came and deleted a table or deleted a couple of very important files, and now the only way for you is my retention policy was 7 days and I'm not able to get my database backup. So you go off-site and say, please send me the tapes. It takes about a couple of days for those tapes to come back. You restore it, and it takes you probably about 3 days to get your database back. Now, Oracle has come up with backup as a service. With this, you can actually back up even your 10G databases on the cloud. And all that you have to do is install what is an agent in your the database agent on your on-premise hardware, and you provide the target as the Oracle Cloud, and your regular RMAN scripts that you run today to do your database backups, use the same RMAN scripts and provide the target as the Oracle Cloud. Now, one of the advantages of doing this is, first of all the backups that are stored, they will be available to you 24/7, and you could choose retention time. Storage is extremely inexpensive on the cloud. You could choose the retention time of 30 days, 60 days, whatever you want. It gives you the access to those databases for those number of days. There is 3 copies of your database backups kept at all times. The databases that are being transferred from source to target are encrypted and compressed. And so you will, and the encryption key is stored with the customer. So Oracle has no access to those backups other than the fact that you're storing it over there. It's encrypted, and there's end-to-end security. So I have personally implemented database backup service for multiple customers, and they are, it is the easiest thing and the best thing. Also, one of the advantages you get is tomorrow you want to create a brand new environment and you do not have infrastructure on premise, you can create the brand new environment directly on the cloud. Now, this is also available for customers who are using non-Oracle Linux or Red Hat Linux. So even if you are on AIX or HPUX, you can use backup as a service. So it will back up, and it basically uses object storage on your Oracle Cloud infrastructure, and it backs up your database on the cloud. So this particular feature that's provided for Oracle customers is available irrespective of the operating system you're running your Oracle database on. The only thing that you will not be able to do is if you want to create a clone of the environment and you are on HPUX, you can clone that environment only on premise because it's an HPUX. You would not be able to get the clone of an environment on the Oracle Cloud, since Oracle does not provide HPUX on the cloud. So I already covered some of these points. You use RMAN to do that, and triple mirroring, etc. So one of the things, security. Everything by default on the cloud is encrypted. So there's no access to the social security numbers would be encrypted, PIN numbers, whatever you have, everything is completely. TDE is available by default, and it is compulsory to absolutely have your databases encrypted on the cloud. So that's one of the things. So all the table spaces are encrypted. Data masking is included as part of the licensing automatically, and even the traffic that happens on SQLnet is encrypted. So there is absolutely nobody can access the data that's going from your data center to the Oracle Cloud. So multiple use cases that we can use now, as we have spoken about. Your database can be backed up to the cloud, even your EBS or your standalone databases. Anything can be backed up to the cloud as long as the 10G or higher. You can create dev and test database applications, and you can do upgrades on the cloud. You have real application testing available, for example, automatically as a license. Do the upgrade, test your performance impact right there. Eventually, you can decide to put your production on the cloud. DR is available on the cloud. So basically, you can extend your data center to the cloud. Some of the points to remember is that, the software that you're running today on-premise, if you are on Linux or on Oracle Linux, then it's exactly the same as it's on the cloud. You don't have to worry about it. So if you used option number 1 or 2, where you have Exadata or ODA, then it's the same software that's running on the cloud. If you have other operating systems like HPUX and Linux, when you are deciding to go to the cloud, you can try multiple options, or you could do a platform migration as needed. The security levels are extremely high, as I mentioned to you earlier, and there is absolutely no way that anyone can access your data without an encryption key, which is stored at your site. So I'm going to cover a little bit of the rest of the 2 points. That is, if you are today on e-business suite, and Oracle has been coming to you that you need to consider SaaS as one of your options. Absolutely, you can use SaaS. But SaaS is a totally different product. So, for example, it's just like migrating to SAP or migrating to some other ERP platform. It's a completely brand new platform. So, if you are on e-business suite today and you have put 20 years of your investment on it, and if you decide to use a SaaS, it is something that you need to evaluate from a functional perspective to see if all the capabilities that e-business suite gives you today is available on the SaaS. If it is absolutely available, that can be one of the ways to do it. Otherwise, Oracle has come up with integrations where you can use some of the SaaS functionality and integrate it with what you have today on e-business suite and still get the benefits of SaaS along with what you have on-premise. One of the things to remember, which Cliff Godwin spoke about in one of our earlier webinar series, was that e-business suite is going to be supported at least until 2030. So there is absolutely no hurry for you to go into SaaS. You can integrate your current applications that you have today and move to the SaaS as needed. And there are multiple ways to do it. So there you go. So you can use a hybrid cloud. Your on-premise e-business suite today you're using ASCP, the Mantra, whatever, you're using BI, whatever you're doing today, you can do your lift and shift. You can move to the cloud as needed if you want to. And then incrementally, as you can see over here, you can incrementally migrate to SaaS as needed. So you can use the HCM module. You could have financials, inventory, PO still running on-premise. You could have HCM running on the SaaS. You could integrate some of those applications as needed, and back and forth. There is enough plugins that are available to integrate between the two. So you can basically extend your SaaS application as needed. And eventually, as you keep moving on, you decide, oh, there's some functionality on financials that I like. You could move your financials module to the cloud. You could still keep some of the other ones on-premise. So as needed, you could keep moving along, or you could use e-business suite as needed. E-business suite is not going away anywhere. The important thing is you can integrate with SaaS applications today. And there are multiple SaaS applications available today, which have probably a little more functionality than e-business, but e-business suite is keeping on making its product better too. So, if you have more questions on how you want to work with SaaS or how you want to perform your roadmap to the cloud, you can always get in touch with us, and we will, help you make the right decisions. The most important thing is your business needs to run efficiently. And if you want your business to run efficiently, you need to make the decisions based on what is right for your business. If SaaS is right for your business, absolutely you should go with SaaS. No questions about it. But it's a decision that you need to make as a business. So, practical paths. If you are on HP UX, Linux, or HP UX or AIX, you can re-platform and come to the Oracle Cloud, or you could re-platform to Exadata, ODA, whatever you want. You can extend with your SaaS applications as I spoke to you. And of course, if you are a company today that has absolutely no e-business suite, but then maybe think about the SaaS. SaaS is definitely going to be something good for new customers, but for customers who are already using e-business suite, it is an excellent product. It's not going away anywhere. Think about just integrating small SaaS applications and continue using your e-business suite. E-business suite is going to keep getting better, and with support till 2030, that's a long time. It's 12 years. That's a long time in the IT industry, and hopefully by the time we get closer to 2025, we'll have even a better roadmap of what the long-term solution for e-business suite is. So we spoke about various options. You can do on-premise, you can do customer, clouded customer, or you can use the public cloud with the 6 different journeys. So, did we cover all the points that we had over here? We try to reduce the cost, we try to provide some of the innovation that Oracle has, and with the priorities, with the cloning, as I said, we'll be able to do cloning much faster, the networking access that you get, and of course the on-demand self-service of creating a database on the fly within less than 45 minutes, for example. And what we are going to be doing on the next webinar is we are going to be providing you, if you are interested in knowing more about the cloud, attend the workshop. You'll have to register for it separately, attend the workshop, and you'll actually get a feel of how to create a new compute environment on the cloud, as well as we'll also create a database on the cloud using the DBCS service and see how easy it is for you to connect to it. So if you are, I'm going to look at some of the questions that some of you have put in. Ketan Shah has asked a question is, does Oracle ERP SaaS have a vision instance to see what functionalities are offered? The ERP SaaS environments have demo environments that are available, and it is provided through the GSC that Oracle has, and they can help you, with the information. There is no such thing as a vision demo that is available with eBusiness Suite, but there are different other methods in which the Oracle provides you the information. Scott, do you have any information about how SaaS is available on the ERP cloud for demo purposes?
Sure. I know that for certified partners like SmartDog, we do have demonstration environments that we can leverage. I'm not sure if they're available to the general public.
Yes, because I think you have to go through the Oracle Sales GSE, the global sales consultants that they have for SaaS, and they would be able to provide you a demo of what are the different functionality that's available. And
right, but it's not a sandbox or something you could kind of work with on your own. I think they want to do more of a structured demo with sales consultants involved.
Correct.
And we can help with some of the functionality as well, and show some screens and do some setups and things like that. So there is some availability for information, but it's not like what we're used to with a vision environment where you can create your own world and make all the changes yourself.
Yes, and then the second question was, what does demo.oracle.com for? I think that's more of legacy now. They're not, they still use it for some of the demos that they do, but there's nothing much from the perspective of for an eBusiness Suite or SaaS environment. If there's anything that is, you need from, how to create your roadmap on the cloud, if you have any questions, please feel free. We are here to help you. If there's anything eBusiness Suite, we are the partners for you. I can tell you that when we get onto the OCI workshop that we do next time, you'll actually see that there's so much benefit in being on the Oracle Cloud, and that will be a more technical based presentation that we'll be able to provide to you. And I will work with whoever attends the workshop and show you how to do some of that stuff on the cloud. There is one more question. When do you have EBS on public cloud? Who does the bounce maintenance of the EBS application steer? This is a very good question. So the EBS on the cloud is very much similar to having EBS on your own data center. You could have two ways to do it. One is, if you have your own set of DBAs today who run your eBusiness Suite, they would be the ones who would do the same bouncing, maintenance, patches, whatever it is. Some of the things would be automated for you, so you could, there will be, like when Oracle is coming up with on the eBusiness Suite, something known as Oracle Cloud Manager, which is very much similar to the Applications Management Suite, but this is for the cloud. This is in the roadmap, and it was announced at Collaborate this year, so it's supposed to be released very soon. I do not have a date for it, but that will give you an option where you would be able to go and click and say, can you please apply this patch for me? And the cloud instance will apply the patch for you, but you still can control also when you want to apply it. Otherwise, you have a managed services provider, like we have a DBA on services as managed service providers. If you have a managed services provider today, they will still work exactly the way they are. It's just changing your data center. Instead of having your data center on your on-premise, your data center is now on the cloud or your hosting provider as needed. So it's exactly the same. There's no difference from that perspective. One more question is, for database cloud service, do we get root access to the server? How different it is from running a database on OCI? I mean, creating a remote compute instance and running an Oracle database on it. So there are two ways, as you said. If you have database cloud service, you do get root access to the server, but you really cannot. It's more for access if you want to, apply. Actually, it is not recommended as far as possible to apply patches or directly on the server. You use it database cloud service. You apply patches directly by clicking on the console and doing all that stuff. If you're running your database on OCI, which is a compute environment, then it becomes your own environment. It's like a server, and you're running your database on that server, and you could then control it yourself. So you could apply your own patches. When a CPU or a PSU is released, you go ahead and apply that. You can upgrade that, in the future to 18C as needed and play around with it the way you want it. If you use database cloud service, then you get all those licensing, right? It's automatically included. If you use the compute environment, then it's pretty much similar to what you have on premise, but you bring your own licenses over. So you can manage it the way you want. Those are the questions I have. If there's any other questions, feel free. Otherwise, I think we are right at time at 1:45 Eastern time. If there's any more questions, feel free to send me an email. And we will, I will make sure I can answer you whichever questions you have. For any general inquiries, send your emails to info@SmartDog service. Thank you very much. It was wonderful, spending time here, and looking forward to seeing you at the OCI workshop in a couple of weeks.